Welcome to the maiden episode of the Ferez Cube, trying to make industrial hygiene interesting and fun. So here we have the Ferez Cube, and our first episode is going to be about PM 2.5, PM 10 air sensors. Now, PM 2.5, PM10 sensors are not a common instrument used by industrial hygienists. These are low-cost sensors. These are ambient air sensors that have become really popular among community advocate groups. This particular one, I'll be talking about this more as we go on, but this is a combination of many sensors. But this is the AlphaSense OPC sensor right here. And here's the input for that. So this is one of them that I'm going to be testing. It's going to have this shell here. And then we've got this one here. This is a modified Dylos product that shout out to Frank Trujillo at Miller & Long Concrete in Maryland. He supported this, and we partnered up and actually came up with this modified prototype Dylos air sensor. So I've had this for many years. It's been really reliable. So I'm going to compare the two. And the Ferez Cube is going to be our crucible, our test chamber. I hope you'll find this interesting and informative. So you will notice that these readings are pretty close together here. So the air comes in on the back, and the particle counter counts the particles, and it blows air out the bottom. So we've got the inlets here pretty close together. Here we have the inlet, and here we have the inlet. So we got about the same height. Now one of the difference between these two is this is a direct read. This is something I'm going to have to go on the dashboard, and it's got to be connected to the internet. But what we're going to do is we're having the box. We're going to close the box up, and then we're going to introduce our aerosol, and it should create a pretty consistent aerosol concentration in here, and we'll see the differences in the readings. So the Ferez Cube is not completely airtight. So I've taken some fake Play-Doh here, kind of BS Play-Doh, and sealed up a little bit here. You will notice here that the two direct read instruments, now the numbers, this is more normal. The PM10 and PM2.5 being a little bit different. This is inter-sensor variability. This is one thing you want to test for. These sensors are not going to read exactly the same, but the difference is consistent. This is Stephen Yan on the right and Dr. Bill Mills on the left. They've really been a help and inspiration in the AIHA Real-Time Direct Read Sensor Committee, and just outside of that as well, they've really been an inspiration. Every time I want to do these things, I want to be reminded of the people that have helped me along the way. All right, it's about 5:12. I'm going to start introducing the Bitrix into the chamber. All right, I got the port closed. I'm going to start out just introducing a little bit, but you can see it's very high numbers now. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I want to show you the Bitrix here, how this works. This is for fit testing a respirator. So this is going to create particles that could penetrate a respirator if it doesn't fit. So they got to be very small particles in the PM2.5, PM10 range. And so what you do is you put somebody in a hood, and then you put the respirator on, and you spray this, and it's bitter tasting. So if it gets through the mask, they're going to taste it. So there you go. That's what I'm spraying into the box. Those are very tiny particles. You can't see. Well, you can kind of see the fog in the daylight, right? But the point is that the Bitrix is a perfect test. It's safe. It's consistent. It's a very good test challenge agent for the PM10, PM2.5 sensors. A perfect test agent for these PM2.5, PM10 sensors. All right, it's 5:53, so you can see the levels have gone down to background, so I'm going to add some more Victrix. Okay, I added quite a bit there, and we see the numbers are already going up. All right, it's about 7:17. We're going to hit it again. You can hear the spray. I'm going to add a lot of spray this time, or a lot of aerosol. Let's see what happens. All right, it's 8:42. Gonna hit it again. Everything's looking great. The two, whoop, I forgot to open the port. All right, let's try this again with the hatch open. I just got a load of Victrix. Everything's looking good. The two white shelled sensors, the TELUS AirU Pros, are tracking very well. The PM10 on my dashboard there. All right, sprayed it quite a bit in there, and we'll just keep watching it. Sensors. So I'm about to shut down now. It's been running for about 7 hours with many episodes of spraying. I have to download from the Dialos, so I gotta physically take it out of here and download it, and then I will compare that data to the white shelled AirU Pros. So far, this has been a success. All right, let's do some data interpretation. Before we do, I'm going to introduce the name here for ResCube, and I'm going to explain where I got this from. So the P stands for fun. Number one, we're going to have some fun. The H stands for heuristic, if I'm saying that right. And I'm going to plug this paper here by Spencer Paisano and Marina about the Athena heuristic. Spencer is on the AIHA Real-Time Detection Committee, and he's put a lot of work in here. I found this interesting. There's not a definition really of heuristic in here, but it does mention many concerned employees are turning to consumer-grade products. Think of that white-shelled air sensor that I just put in the box, that can be operated without the knowledge, that I put in the cube, that can be operated without the knowledge or consent of their organization, leading to potential conflict regarding the validity and interpretation of exposure data before the results are even considered. So I thought that was cool. But for a good definition of heuristic, enabling someone to discover or learn something for themselves, hands-on, proceeding to a solution by trial and error or by rules that are only loosely defined. And I definitely want to be loose and want to have something relevant and effective, but not overly complicated. So that takes care of heuristic, artistic, something that's visually appealing, something that holds your interest, realistic, again, something that can be used, knowledge that can be transferred to anyone, and Sigma, we'll talk about Sigma. Okay, so this is the data from the two Dialoses, Proto and Beta is what I call them. And as you saw in the video, the Beta runs a little bit high on the PM10. So there is some intersensor variability, but you can see it's pretty consistent. Now this is data points every 15 seconds. So there's a lot of data in here. This is the entire experiment. Let me get my laser pointer here. Okay, so the good news is that they are lined up. They go up and they go down at the same time. The actual numbers are a little bit different, but this is what I've come to expect with the Dialos. Here is the first 3 peaks, and you can see if you make it, is this more or less granular? Well, if you shorten it down to the 3 peaks, you can start to see it more detail. So this is more granular. You get that first spike, and then as the particles settle or leave the cube, you can see the slow march downward. So again, let's go back to, you can still see that pretty good, but the more granular zoom in on the 3 peaks. And this is just one of the sensors here, and you can see how this works. Now, if you take the average of the first 2 peaks compared to the beta and the proto, and this is in micrograms per meter cubed, you can see there is a difference there. Now, it's been my experience that it's pretty consistent, the difference between the beta and the proto. Okay, so these are the white shell sensors, the TELUS AirU Pros. And so we have some good news. Okay, so first of all, this is a data point every 5 minutes. So you can see here a graph of the entire experiment. It looks a lot different. Let's go back to, so you see this graph here. This is every 15 seconds. A lot of data points. Okay, this is every 5 minutes. So you see that we still have the unique peaks, but you don't see that, because it's being averaged, you don't see that detailed kind of decline. But the good news is that in general, they agree pretty close to each other. Now I did a quick to-do here. I said, well, now let's compare the Dialos and the AirU Pros, and let's see how they kind of agree with each other. And so I ranked the peaks. Which one was the highest? Well, this one was the highest. The white shell agrees with that. This one is the second highest. There's an agreement there. Now there's a switch here. There's disagreement between the third and the fourth peak. These are reversed. Let's skip over that for a second. The second peak is the fifth, and the 6th peak here is agreed. So why are these different? Well, first of all, this one here, you've got the difference between the proto and the beta. And this one here, there's not really a difference, which is kind of interesting, an anomaly. And you see these peaks here very close to each other. And you could make the argument that if you took the average of these two, it's pretty close. So that's a close call. But in general, they both agree. They snuffed out the larger, higher concentration of Bitrix, and they agreed on the lower concentration of Bitrix. Now the interesting thing is and here you see again, there's good agreement between the 2 sensors when you average out the first 2 peaks. This is the same units, but you see here completely different total amounts. And I'm not going to go into, this will be for another video to talk about why this is. But the important thing is not so much how accurate they are to the true value, but are they consistently different than the true value? So this might be half of the true value, and as long as it's half of the true value every time with that particular mixture of particulate, then you can always calculate for the true value, if that makes sense. All right, well, this is the maiden episode for this new video series that I'm doing with the Ferris Cube and trying to make industrial hygiene fun and interesting. This is brought to you by Critical Plexiglass Theory. Thank you very much.
Plexiglass Theory. Everything's just beginning, but the games you want to play. Bring it on and I will fight to the end. Just watch and see. It's all started, everything's begun, and you are over. Cause we're taking down the CCP.